Hello and welcome to another House of Wisdom lightest and best video, and this knife is a real pleasure. It's a knife from Challenor Custom Knives called the Hornet, and this is the lightest and best that Challenor makes. He has a plan to make another 3-inch blade called the Baby Viper, but it hasn't been released yet, so as of the making of this video, the Hornet is the lightest and best coming out of Challenor's shop. Challenor is a knife maker from Durban, South Africa. He's been making knives since 2014. He is part of a team which includes Francis Nell, which helps with the design work, social media marketing. Luke Princeton helps with the CNC work, and Blessing is his assistant. Challenor does the heat treating and hand grinding of the blades and assembly and finish work. All the team members making these knives work only on a part-time level at the knife making. All of the knives Clyde makes hold a lifetime warranty also. Well, we'll get into the specifications now of the Hornet. Let me show you this beautiful Damasteel blade, and then the rest of the knife, the handle with those carbon fiber inserts. Okay, the blade length is 3 inches, and the handle length is 4.1 inches, giving a total knife length of 7.1 inches. The knife weight is 3.3 ounces. I have some knives for comparison. The Delica, which is approximately the same size, and then the Dragonfly, which is a smaller knife, and then I'll compare it to the Challenor Talon, which is a bit larger. The blade on the knife is a Damasteel blade, which has a beautiful pattern. It is in a reverse tanto with a high hollow ground. Because it's a high hollow ground, you see the pattern is very narrow at the steep part of the blade, and as it levels out, the pattern becomes broader. That's on both sides of the knife. So the Damasteel is a very beautiful Damasteel. The flats are satin. There is some crowning on the spine and then some jimping. Note that there's a little bit of a thumb ramp, so it is a nice place to set your thumb. You get good purchase with this knife on the blade. Concerning the reverse tanto style blade, the first knife I can remember coming out and proclaiming a reverse tanto was the Benchmade 940. Here's an example of that. But Challenor uses it also. Here is his Talon, where he uses that reverse tanto idea. And then here is the Scout, which also is made by a South African maker and also utilizes the reverse tanto blade style. Another thing that I wanted to point out about the blade is that the plunge grind comes right up to the end of the handle, so you have an efficient use of the blade. Many knives, you'll have two metrics. One is the blade length, another is the cutting edge length. And the cutting edge length, because the plunge grind is so placed back, is the same as the blade length. Not all knives are done this way. I don't want to rag on any knife, but here is the Delica. As you can see, there's about a 1/2 inch of area from the beginning of the blade to the start of the cutting edge. And on this one, the blade length and the cutting edge length are exactly the same because he does the plunge line so well and so far back. I can understand having a different blade length and cutting edge length whenever you have something like the 50-50 forward choil. That enables Spyderco to get a 4-finger grip on a very small light knife, and I completely approve of that. But anyway, you get a lot of blade in a 3-inch blade. You get the full 3 inches as the cutting edge. It's a really good design. The method of deployment of the knife is a front flipper, and you put your thumb there that has some jimping and some knurling. Here's where your thumb goes, but it's a little finer and brisker right where you're supposed to put your thumb, and it just deploys very nicely. I really like the front flippers, and the South Africans are big on them. This is a Trevor Berger EXK, which also has a front flipping action. And then recently, Olamic came out with their Busker. Olamic puts another extension of a lip there, but its profile is still slim and it deploys well also. I think the first front flipper I got was the Boker A2 Mini, which is a a takeoff on Andre Thorburn, Andre Van Heeren's A2 series, and it's what I call a high front flipper. You don't really put your thumb there to deploy it. You reach your index finger over the top and then flip it that way. So there's different ways to deploy the front flipper. The essence of the front flipper, though, and the beauty of it, especially in this model, is that whenever you carry the knife, there's not a flipper tab sticking out to be obstructive. It has a thin, sleek design that fits well in your pocket. The handle on the knife is a stone-washed titanium on this one. The handle on the knife I got last year was more of a bead blast finish, so this is more of a user finish. One of the things that's distinctive about the change in Clyde's philosophy is that he received feedback from his constituents that said they would prefer to have the carbon fiber inserts on both sides. So the knife he made me, the Talon from last year, just has the carbon fiber inserts on the show side, and he left the clip side all titanium. So this year I bought two knives from Clyde. I bought another Talon, which I won in a raffle, but both sides have the inserts. This one is Damascus and this one is carbon fiber, but it's really nice that Clyde listens to his audience, and I think it looks better and more balanced with the carbon fiber inserts both on the clip side and on the show side. So well done, Clyde Challenor. On this knife, there is no internal milling, so that's one thing he could have done to improve it, is put internal milling. But as it is, it's not too heavy at 3.3 ounces. It's not such a downside. The construction of the knife consists of a pivot and one single standoff, and then there's the external pin, which is held internally, so it's a very simple construction. The pivot on the knife runs on ceramic bearings, and it has a very smooth action, especially front flipping. The action closing is a shake-shut close, but there's no problem at all. This is one of the beautiful things about the Clyde Challenor pivot. It's that it looks proprietary. It has this cross, but you can open it with a slotted screwdriver or a coin. And people recommend the coin because copper or nickel is softer than the steel, and a slotted screwdriver is made of hardened steel, so it might scratch the pivots. So for safety, you might want to use a coin. Other makers also use a proprietary pivot that you can use a slotted screwdriver on. Here is a Shirogorov Hadion, and it's proprietary, but you can use a coin or a slotted screwdriver to open it, so you don't need any special tools to open these. Another maker that uses a proprietary pivot that can use a coin or a slotted screwdriver is Cheberkov. I'll put a picture of his knife up, and it looks very interesting, but yeah, you can open that with a coin. Wonderful idea. The lock on the knife is a frame lock. This one locks up at about 25%. It locks up firm and smoothly. There's no blade play in any direction. It has a lock bar insert and over travel stop incorporated with the frame lock. The pocket clip on this knife is a 3D milled titanium pocket clip, and it sits flat and low. It has good retention. The hardware is all hidden on the inside, and it has good ergonomics whenever you grip the knife. The ergonomics of the knife are excellent. As you can tell, all of the edges on the handle have some champering, so there aren't any sharp edges on this knife at all. It just fits like a glove in your hand. And on the Damasteel version, there is no signage whatsoever, either on the handle or the blade. It's a completely sterile knife, and I can't even see any markings on the inside of the handle. So this is for those of you that like a sterile knife, this is as sterile as they come. Just the beauty of the knife and no billboarding and signage. The value on the knife, well, it's a little bit expensive. The reason you would want to buy one of these knives isn't for the value, it's because you're in love with it, and that's what I did. You can buy a Trevor Berger front flipper, which flips also equally as well, for about 2/3 the price of a Challenor. So what are my impressions about this knife? I love it. I love the Damasteel blade. I think it's a great size. A 3-inch blade and a 4 and a 0.1-inch handle are just perfect for my hand. And the blade, this reverse Tonto with the Damasteel, wow, it just really spoke to me. And the carbon fiber inserts on both sides. Not only because they look great, but because Clyde Challenor is the type of guy that listens to his customers and modifies his designs based on their preferences. And of course, I like the proprietary pivot, the Challenor pivot, which is also one of his maker marks. It's beautiful looking, and you can use a slotted screwdriver coin to open it. So in summary, if you're wanting into the custom knife realm and you like small front flippers, the Clyde Challenor Hornet might be the knife from you. It's the lightest and best from Clyde Challenor Custom Knives. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next House of Wisdom Lightest and Best Knife Review video.